Hey guys, this is Nate with the IGN Xbox team. Summer has arrived, and this year there are not very many first-person shooter releases out there, except for EA's BattleField BadCompany. I'm here to bring you our full video review. Enjoy. The Battlefield series has always been a PC-oriented franchise, with only Battlefield 2 Modern Combat making the jump to consoles. In mid-2005, the Sweden-based Digital Illusion CE, or DICE, teased the existence of a new Battlefield game, a title that we now know to be BattleField BadCompany. It not only represents the first story-based Battlefield title, but it's also the first product to utilize the all-new Frostbite engine, developed internally by DICE. It boasts excellent production values both in the visual and audio departments, as well as intense multiplayer action that is sure to please fans of the venerable series. BadCompany follows one Private Preston Marlowe, a new recruit to a division of the Army known simply as Bad Company. It's a group of misfit soldiers. There's Sarge, Haggard, and the love-struck Stillwater to complement Marlowe, and each has their own personality and quippy dialogue that they'll spew out throughout the adventure. Though the missions in the campaign begin innocently enough with the standard destruction of enemy military installations, the team's motivations quickly take a turn once the promise of personal wealth enters the equation. It's interesting to see how DICE dances around the fact that your group of soldiers is essentially abandoned by United States military command. They could have taken a more politically slanted approach, but BadCompany does a good job of keeping things lighthearted and fun throughout the action. This does come back to bite the game experience in the butt a bit, as the intensity is lessened thanks to the fact that the characters are constantly joking during moments of serious warfare. Diving deeper into the gameplay reveals that the focus of the game, like the characters themselves, is not on delivering a true war simulation. This is evidenced by the checkpoint system which, like BioShock's cryo chambers, doesn't so much restart you from a certain spot as it does respawn you back in the battlefield. Again, this does lessen the intensity and the punishment for death that you get from a game like Call of Duty 4. Kill a guy and then die in Infinity Ward's Game of the Year, and he'll be alive when you begin again. Not so in BadCompany, where any damage that you cause stays upon your death. It's clear that EA and DICE wanted to usher the player through the storyline, but it's a bit much at some points. Where the gameplay of BadCompany effectively and positively separates itself from the throng of other war-based releases is in the destructibility that is afforded by the much-talked-about Frostbite engine. Unlike in Call of Duty 4, when you launch a grenade or a rocket into the side of a stone wall, that wall is coming down, and impressively so. Debris is tossed around, and the Frostbite engine does a decent job of making you think that it's destroying the environment dynamically, even if that isn't quite the case. It's a very cool feeling to play a few hours of BadCompany, where you can blow out windows that are acting as cover for enemy soldiers, and blow up bridges that are home to a unit of light tanks, then switch to Call of Duty 4 and feel the remorse of walls and environments that can't be deformed in the slightest. Throw in some of the best audio effects I've ever heard in a video game, and BadCompany is a treat for the eyes and ears. The high dynamic range audio, or HDR audio, creates different effects for gunfire, explosions, and pretty much every other sound effect you can imagine on the field of battle. While the dialogue from the characters might be a bit too cheeseball for some, the sound effects and overall audio design more than pick up the slack. The single-player story, which spans all of 8 levels, while it's much more solid than what we've seen from other solo Battlefield experiences, does leave a bit to be desired. The respawn system detracts from the intensity of each life and feels like it's holding your hand a bit too much, while the story itself isn't all that compelling, despite the characters being more engaging than what we've seen from prior installments. I also have an issue with the way the health system is constructed. In single player, you automatically have a health injector that Preston can jab into his chest at any time to restore his health. There are occasionally situations when fire will be raining down on your character at such a frenetic pace that you'll feel like you're constantly slamming that needle into your chest and waiting for it to recharge so you can do it all over again. Then there's my main complaint with the gameplay, and that's the fact that there's no cooperative play. With 4 characters in BadCompany, you'd think that DICE would have realized the potential and built in some co-op support, either online or off, but instead there is none to be had. Granted, there is at least one mission where Preston goes it alone, but the rest of the game is perfectly fit for more team interactions. Luckily, the multiplayer in BadCompany takes the best moments from the single player and recreates them twofold. The battles that take place across the 8 maps are frantic and intense. While the retail release does only come with one mode, there are plans on releasing a patch that will bring the original Battlefield mode of play from PC onto consoles. Not that BadCompany needs it. There certainly is a learning curve, especially if you're coming from the run-and-gun world of Call of Duty 4. But once you get your head around how to properly utilize the different class systems and vehicle offerings, the 24-player matches become much more fun. In the end, BattleField BadCompany is a great addition to the long-running series, despite the fact that it leaves the comfy confines of the PC world. The added storyline gives newfound depth to the formerly shallow single-player mode, despite the fact that the dramatization pales in comparison to what we've seen from Call of Duty 4. Where BadCompany truly shines is in its multiplayer and the technology that drives the game forward. Both raise the bar in their own right and give the competition something to strive for. In this summer relatively devoid of solid first-person shooters, BadCompany does enough to earn your hard-earned money. So there it is, our video review for BattleField BadCompany, a great shooter to keep you indoors for the hot summer months.